points in each of their last 8 games. But the Leafs have also been playing better as of late. Toronto is looking for a 3rd straight win. A battle of teams climbing up the standings. Who will gain more ground tonight? It's the Leafs, the Ducks on Sportsnet. At the urging of Captain Dion Phaneuf, Toronto has turned a 3-game road trip into a week-long journey. Now, after some downtime in Southern California, the Leafs return to work. Maple Leafs and Ducks from Anaheim tonight. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Hockey Central. I'm Darren Millard. Overall, Toronto is a .500 hockey team for the first time all year. Tonight, they attempt to reach that mark on the road. The panel after Chris Simpson in Anaheim. Chris.
Thanks very much, Darren. Yes, tonight we will have actually 3 All-Stars on display tonight as the Leafs, Leo Komarov, and the Ducks, Corey Perry and John Gibson. Well, they're all headed to Nashville later this month. But first to tonight, we'll see the return of former Ducks coach Mike Babcock to Anaheim for the first time behind the Leafs bench. And boy, his new team seems to be buying into his system as the Leafs have won 2 straight and 5 of their last 7. Jonathan Bernier also regaining confidence in his game. He'll make his 8th straight start tonight. Now to the Ducks. They began the season with lofty expectations, but after a horrible start like the Leafs, they won just 1 game in the month of October. They have begun to right the ship. They've won 4 of their last 5. A lot of the credit goes to that all-star goaltender, John Gibson, who was the NHL's Rookie of the Month for December, and he will get the start here tonight. Darren?
Thank you. Unofficially, the back half of our doubleheader on Sportsnet tonight. Here is Elliot Friedman along with Nick Kyprios. This is the anniversary. 1 year ago today, Randy Carlyle was fired by the Toronto Maple Leafs. How different is this team from a year ago?
Yeah, much different. The feel is that the Leafs are trending up. And even though this time last year that they had a better record, prior to that, Darren, and prior to Carlyle getting fired, everybody was under the impression that it was smoke and mirrors and it was going to crumble at some point. You don't have that feeling this time. Much more sound defensively, much structured seems to be the catchphrase amongst Babcock and the way he's able to create a system for the Leafs. As long as they remain with some level of consistency in net with Bernier, then chances are that it'll continue to go well for the Leafs.
Randy Carlyle is expected to be at the game at the Honda Center tonight as well. This is not going to be a normal Bruce Boudreau coached Ducks team.
No, it isn't, and he's gone to the Trap in Anaheim, and it reminded me of the previous time in his career he went to the Trap, the first time he ever did it as a professional hockey coach.
Look it, I have never seen a bunch of guys look so down when something bad happens. What are you guys, like prima donna perfect, that if you can't handle adversity, so it's not going right. It's not working the last 10 days. Get your heads out of your and make it work by outworking the opposition. You killed 2 men.
Is it over?
That was Washington. They were going to the Winter Classic against Pittsburgh. They lost 7 games in a row, and we go to the Winter Classic and he starts laughing. He says, guess what, I'm coaching the Trap for the first time in his career. Now, we don't know if he did that this year in Anaheim.
But that kind of tirade?
Yes, but he publicly was saying was really hard on his players. Anaheim's gone to the Trap. Mark Giordano said it was the toughest Trap they've played and faced this year, and they're not giving up goals or shots.
Bruce Boudreau against Mike Babcock as Toronto starts a 3- and 4-night stretch in Southern California. Ducks and Leafs next on Sportsnet.
Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey. Brought to you by Molson Canadian, diehard fan and proud partner of the Toronto Maple Leafs.
About 1 year ago, when the Leafs last rolled into Anaheim on January 14th, they were 5 points out of a wild card playoff spot and had the 3rd best offense in the league. But the Titanic had smashed into the iceberg and was rapidly taking on water. A year later, a different skipper. It's all hands on deck, and the waters seem much more navigable than they did the last time the Leafs passed through Anaheim. Tonight's starting goaltenders brought to you by Intact Insurance Company. You're back. Jonathan Bernier starts tonight. He started his NHL career against Anaheim, playing for the LA Kings in September of 2007 in London, England. He won the game. John Gibson starts for Anaheim. He was named to play in the NHL All-Star Weekend today. He's having an outstanding rookie season. He was named Rookie of the Month for December, going 5-3-1 with 3 shutouts. Leo Komarov also named to the NHL All-Star Game today. He's having his best season as a pro hockey player. Great to have you with us wherever you're looking in. Paul Romanuk along with Greg Mellon and Christine Simpson. And sit back and enjoy this one as the resurgent Leafs, and I must say the resurgent Ducks, try to take one more step forward in a long season. And the puck comes back to Jake Gardiner. Leafs starting off with Kadri, Grabner, and Komarov. Kessler, Silverberg, and Hagelin out there for Anaheim to start it.
And you'll see Kessler against that line most of the night, I would think, for Bruce Boudreau's team. As for Mike Babcock, he's had his group out here all week. They've had a pretty good rest. They've had some team time together as a team, which I feel is always very important. Of course, Mike coming back to this area knows it well. He's taken the coaches out to a couple of events, and it's been a pretty good time by all, I'm sure.
Always nice to get out to the West Coast, although the weather hasn't cooperated. It's been cracked not to put too fine a point on it. Bucketing down rain, and is expected to continue for the next couple of days. Puck dropped back by Bieksa, who scored his first game as a member of the Anaheim Ducks the other night. Puck fired in. Not much on it there in that shot from Vatanen, or the shot attempt. Puck will roll out, and James Van Riemsdyk with it for the Leafs. And all the way back into his own zone, being watched by Raquel. He gets it up and ahead. Now this is Bieksa. Raquel fires it in wide. It's going to bounce up. Getzlaf after it. Tapped it around back to the net. And the puck will be played down, and this will be an icing call on the Leafs. Time now for the keys of the game, brought to you by Tim Hortons, the official coffee of the NHL.
Well, for the Toronto Maple Leafs, they better be disciplined tonight. The Ducks, with their skill levels finally starting to wake up. They're 6 for 11 on the power play of late, and Anaheim's had a pretty good start. They want to keep that going. They've had a horrific time scoring goals. They broke out against the Winnipeg Jets with a couple of early goals in their last game.
Mike Santorelli out there to take the face-off for Anaheim. Played most of last season with the Leafs and was a free agent signing in the offseason for Anaheim.
And who would have thought Anaheim, they're averaging 1.89 goals per game for so far. That's the worst in the National Hockey League. But you heard Elliott talk about their commitment to defense. It's been much better. They're now 5th in the league in goals against. And yes, they play a stingy game where they're really relying on their defense. Obviously, they had to if they had to turn it around when they're not scoring goals.
Well, the 4 goals they scored in their last game against Winnipeg, more than the offensive total from the 3 previous games combined. So, although the rain is bucketing down here, the offense is not. And the puck chipped up ahead. And just steered down in deep by Winnick. Lupo up there on the forecheck. Lupo looking for it in the corner, wasn't able to come up with it. It's tapped out. Leafs play tonight in Anaheim, tomorrow night in Los Angeles, and then they head into San Jose to play on Saturday.
And for the Ducks and their chances against, they've been below 10 since they turned their season around most nights. Now, in the National Hockey League, if you're anywhere below 10 chances to score against, you're going to win the majority of the games. And they're starting to win because of that.
Up in the face-off. Puck ricocheted up. Winnick, Lupo looking for it. Now they'll head back to the bench. Winnick doesn't. He's up there in the forecheck, and now he'll wheel back as Mike Babcock gets in a change. Puck comes out there. Boy's looking for it. Taps it up and ahead. As is Madsen. Trying to play it out. Arcabello looking for it. Arcabello got it down to the corner. Now he's going to go after it here in the side. It's played across. Theodore under some pressure. Got it over to Manson, who will start back. Manson out to center. Steps in over the blue line. To Mathias dropped it back there for Stewart, who fires it in. Stewart, a guy who doesn't score a lot of goals, but has an outstanding shooting percentage. When he does shoot, he's very good. Puck moved up along the boards. Vatanen knocks it down. Snakes his way down in the corner. Vatanen looking around. Gets it back out. Getzlaf back to the line. Puck fired in by Bieksa and wrestled away by Bernier. And tapped out by Van Riemsdyk. Up and ahead. Gardner in there. Fired one, and right on him was Bieksa. He didn't get a great shot away. He was sort of off balance. Bieksa did a nice job there coming back against Gardner. Perry in over the line. Gets it there to Getzlaf. Shoots right across in front of the net. He laid that down there beautifully for Rickard Rakell, who just failed to get his stick on it. Now Rakell looking forward here at the side. Steps up. Backhand shot. Save. Puck knocked away. And now gloved out towards the line. Trying to keep it in is Lindholm. And it will come out. Corbinian holds here. Plays it in over the blue line. Fired in just wide by Corey Perry. And this big line. Getzlaf, Perry, and Rakell. Rebound comes down in front. Jabbing away at it was Carl Hagelin, and it is covered up by Bernier, who looked steady there.
Oh, better than steady, Paul. A couple of big-time saves for Jonathan Bernier. The big line for the Anaheim Ducks, first of all. Getzlaf trying to find Perry going to the net. We've seen that combination over the years, time and time again. And then the Leafs give the puck away a couple of times here. They get running around Bernier twice there with Rakell right in front of the net. And here's this last save. And what I love about this is Bernier's recovery. Perfectly square, doesn't get too far forward, which is a natural tendency for a goalie to do on a second chance opportunity. He's able to drag his pad and make the save.
Puck comes back. Kessler got it back towards the blue line for Manson. Now, he couldn't keep it in. This is Grabner all of a sudden for the Leafs. Gets it up for Kadri down into the corner. Grabner goes for the front of the net. Puck comes back to Phaneuf, who fires it towards the goal. Komarov buzzing around up there trying to knock it down. And the Ducks able to control. This is Silverberg. He will play it down into the right wing corner. Cogliano. Pardon me, that's Lindholm angling up there after it. Lindholm looking for it. They roll it around. Kessler in front. Shot comes through. Bounces down back of the net. And Hagelin after it, and play is called.
This period brought to you by Toyota and Scion, now offering Aeroplan miles.
One of the adjustments that Bruce Boudreau made after their 1-7-2 start in October was to get Kessler back playing against the opposition's best line. And you see Kessler here against Kadri, and he will be a nasty piece of business all game long against Nazem Kadri. You know that for a fact.
Well, Selke winner in 2011 and one of the best face-off men in the league. He fits the bill well if you want a guy to go out and try to shut somebody down.
The Ducks first in the league in the penalty kill also, and he has something to do with that too.
Puck steered in by Holland. Fired across there by Winnick. Santorelli trying to come out, knocked back. Bieksa just chops at it. Winnick tapped it in over the line. Takes it back. Dropped it back. Pollock cranks one in on goal, and a nice stop by Gibson.
Well, these two teams really didn't get out of the gate. The Maple Leafs, you really didn't know how they were going to start. For the Ducks, you didn't expect this. And Getzlaf wasn't scoring. Perry wasn't scoring. And maybe going along in the playoffs last year had something to do with it. But boy, oh boy, they took a while to get their game going. And when they started to commit to their defense is when it's turned around.
Well, they got off to the bad start. There was the obligatory talk about whether or not Bruce Boudreau would lose his job. And a penalty coming up off the face-off.
We're going to have a face-off interference call here. And it's going to go to the Toronto Maple Leafs as Mathias goes to the box. So a little pick coming out of off the face-off. Top of your screen, Mathias there with that stick out. Wow, just enough to delay the forward going to the point. And he's in the box for 2 or less.
And the face-off comes all the way down into the Leaf zone.
We talked about staying out of the box against this power play that's heating up for Anaheim. They've got 2 units going at the moment. They're both going well.
They have the 10th best power play overall in the league. That comes back, trying to fire it in towards the net. There was Vatanen has played back. Just checking the numbers at 20 for 100. 20 power play goals and 100 chances for Anaheim. They were 2 for 2 in their last game against Winnipeg, a game they won 4-1. And in the last 5 games, they are 6 for 11 on the power play. Komarov is chopping it back in. This is Vatanen. Raquel on his way up on the left. He goes to Getzlaf on the right. Perry back up for Getzlaf. Here's Raquel darting in there after it. Puck comes up to Winnick. And he will start out. Winnick very calmly to the blue line. Just carries it in. Eats up some time. 1:10 to go in the man advantage. Vatanen plays it across. And the shot comes in, and it's just stopped and held by Bernier. That was Hampus Lindholm who let it go from the left side.
All right, good start for Jonathan Bernier. Made a couple of point-blank saves already in this game, and that last save doesn't look like much, but I've said it often, when he's on his game, he swallows pucks and there's no rebound. And he's in control, and so far here early in the first, that's the way he looks.
Leafs gave up a power play goal against St. Louis in their last game, but they've only given up 2 power play goals in their last 5 games. Puck steered back. Bieksa worked it across. One-timer in on goal by Lindholm. Bernier there with a good stop. He's looked good tonight, and he looked good the last game against St. Louis.
Sure did, and again complete. And then on the road trip before that, he stole the game, I thought, against the Penguins just after Christmas. And here's a sample of some of his work against the St. Louis Blues in that big win, their last start. And again, very controlled, doesn't overmove, finds pucks, and the defense did a pretty nice job helping him out throughout the game also.
Bernier had just a miserable 2015, and I mean the calendar year 2015. He was .930-7 with an .898 save percentage. You take that year out of the equation, and he's pretty good. 72, 47, and 16. Puck comes over. Sizzled in there, knocked down. I got through to Bernier. Stewart back in the net, trying to play it back out. Lindholm hustling across, couldn't keep it in. Here comes Komarov. Works it out in front, and the pass was tipped and just went behind Grabner. Back the other way. Bieksa trying to work it in and picked off and fired down the ice. Nice stick by Matt Hunwick to break up that play. Komarov with the nice effort there, shorthander, but kind of fell apart in the pass attempts. And now it's turned over. Winnick shoots, picked off and held by Gibson.
Well, Komarov, first of all, gets a rush chance, and he tries to go through, and a real nice play by Vatanen here to break it up. But then afterwards, watch what he does. After giving the puck away, he comes right through the middle, breaks the play up, and then ices the puck all the way down. A terrific defensive play, and Mike Babcock has really been thrilled with Komarov, not just because of his offensive output, but also his defensive work. And there's Winnick with a chance. It was a pretty easy save from Gibson, as he didn't get much on it.
Few seconds of the power play. Hagelin trying to come down that left side. He's snuffed out in the corner, and the team's back at even strength. 3 shots on goal during that power play for Anaheim. Here comes Riley. In over the line. Mathias is with them going towards the front of the net. Riley up back of the net now. Slides it back down and takes the return feed. Riley got it back, but up, fires one in wide. This is Kadri off the bench and into the mix. Gets it back. Lupul fires one. He missed the target. And this is Silverberg. In over the blue line. Anaheim on a change. Silverberg up there. Manhandled into the boards by Gardner. Polak clearing it up. And all the way down the ice. Komarov up there looking for it. Against Lindholm, couple of 47s battling. Puck back to Gardner, works it across. Komarov tried to get it to Kadri, missed him with the pass. And slid back there by Santorelli. Puck cleared up to the right wing corner. Santorelli trying to get up there. He was held up just enough by Van Riemsdyk. This is Gardner. Gets it up to Van Riemsdyk. Tapped it up ahead. Bozak couldn't knock it down. Leafs on a change. And had to be careful there. No one touched the puck. Puck comes up to Van Riemsdyk. He will steer it in. Flying up there is Parenteau. And Phaneuf snapped it, and it's tipped up over the glass and into the netting. No score in this game yet. It's the Leafs and the Ducks, and it's early.
The makeover of the Toronto Maple Leafs began 1 year ago today when Randy Carlyle was fired as head coach. Well, things went downhill from there under Peter Horachek. Well, since then, Leafs president Brendan Shanahan has been busy hiring a new GM, new management team, and new coach, Mike Babcock, who tonight returns to Anaheim, where he guided the Ducks to a cup final in 2003. All right, a cup might still be a ways away for Toronto, but boy, there is at least optimism now. Paul?
And the Leafs get one right there. Hunwick fired it in from the blue line. And it was Parenteau who ended up scoring it.
So right off the face-off, the Toronto Maple Leafs here win the draw, kick it back, and a broken play that goes off a leg right onto the tape. A bit of a break for P.A. Parenteau, and he just snaps it right past the surprise John Gibson. Hunwick with the shot off a leg, and it lands right on the stick of Parenteau, and the Leafs here with the early goal. Just their third shot of the period.
This is Grabner up looking for it. And Phaneuf plays it up along the boards. Kadri trying to get to that puck, was pushed off it by Kessler. Pass comes up to Bieksa. In over the line. He'll get a chance. And Bernier there with the answer.
Well, Bieksa got his first goal as a Duck the last game these team played against Winnipeg, so maybe a little added confidence. He goes flying in and gets slashed right at the very end of it. And then a scrum afterwards, and we're going to get a penalty here. And it's going to be to Bieksa. I think he retaliated after the slash. There was no call on that play, and as you can see, he's favoring his wrist. So he went after Phaneuf and ends up in the penalty box.
That lead goal, by the way, Parenteau gets it from Hunwick and Bozak at 8:54. And that marks the first time in the last 8 games that the Ducks don't score first. So the Leafs will go to work in the power play. Their power play is ranked 13th in the league heading into this game.
And why are the Ducks so successful killing penalties? Keep an eye on how aggressive they are in the defensive zone when killing. They'll just jump right on players. Here's an example. Right away. They do not wait at all when killing.
Their penalty kill is the best in the league. Here's Phaneuf. Fires one across. Boyes tried to get his stick on it. Bozak back at the right point will take it. Taps it back up, trying to get the return feed over to Bozak, but it bounces away and is hacked out. Anaheim have only given up 15 power play goals this year. And by way of comparison, the Leafs have given up 24. So Anaheim very, very good.
And they've killed 37 of the last 40. You can imagine.
Killed off all 4 in their last game against Winnipeg. And there you see they don't back off in the penalty kill. Puck comes up to Komarov. On the way up towards the line. Komarov suddenly with some room. Suddenly with a change. Puck comes in front. Gibson sprawling after it. Lupo was right there among others. And it is covered up and held by Gibson.
Boy, Komarov has some jump in his leg. I don't know if it's the All-Star game or not. I mean, he's been good all year, but tonight he seems to have an extra gear. And he just takes off down the wing, uses the puck for protection, centers it, and a real nice looking play. The Leafs go to the net with some authority, and Gibson had to be very sharper to find this puck as Kadri and then Lupo are in the area. Take a quick look at the penalty here to the left side of your screen, and there's the slash on Phaneuf. by Bieksa after he retaliates from getting slashed earlier in that sequence.
This is Gardner. Held the line, gets it up to Kadri. Looking around. Komarov parked right down in front. Gardner at the line, didn't have a shot. Kadri does. Fires one wide. Komarov gobbles up the loose puck. Works it around. Gardner able to keep it in. Back of the net for Komarov. Lupul parks himself in front of the net as Komarov tries to wrest that puck loose along the boards. Got him to the line. Gardner with a shot. Puck bounces down. This is Kadri. Looks around. Buys himself a bit of space. Gardner got it over. And the puck fired and redirected up over the glass and into the netting with 9 seconds to go on the power play.
Well, Komarov pretty excited about the All-Star selection, as he should be, and he is one of the Leaf players. They may have a selection of players that they may let go at the trade deadline, depending how the second half of the season goes. But I can tell you one thing, number 47 is not going to be one of them. He's not going anywhere.
Having his best season as a pro hockey player. His best season prior as a pro was in the KHL with Moscow Dynamo. Hunwick knocks it down. Tries to work it up. Van Riemsdyk jabs at it. Penalized player, Bieksa out of the box and into the play. He will clear it in deep. Climbing up there after it is Hagelin back of the net. So the team's back at even strength. Leafs had 2 shots on goal during the power play. This is Getzlaf. Works it back to the line. Puck fired in, and Bernier, nice job, got out to the top of the crease, avoided the traffic, and made the save. Bernier has looked sharp so far, and the Leafs are up 1-0. Leo Komarov has 15 goals this year, eclipsing his previous best with Moscow Dynamo in 2010-11 when he had 14. He remembers the centerman on his line was a guy named Konstantin Gorovikov, a Russian veteran, and as he recalls, they finished 1-2 in team scoring, and he had 14 goals that year. But he is better that here in the NHL with the Leafs, 15 and counting, and he is off to the All-Star game. And as you pointed out, Greg, he is adored by his head coach, Mike Babcock. Loves the way he plays.
And he's one of those players that's, you know, they say it in sports, he's good in the room. The players like him. He's a funny guy. He keeps them loose. Plays a few jokes once in a while, and you love to have those guys as teammates.
Bieksa chopped it up. It's going to come back. Bieksa hustles up after it. Scored a goal and had an assist the other night against Winnipeg. As I mentioned earlier, the first goal he'd ever scored is just coming over to join the Ducks. Puck picked up by Kadri from the sharp angle, and that was knocked up over the glass and into the netting.
Canon's Best in Glass sales event is on now. Get the best deals of the season on high-performance Canon cameras and L-Series lenses.
Anaheim Ducks settling in nicely here, playing their second game of 8 in a row at home, and they've already started to turn things around from a bad start, and you would think that's going to help.
Well, the one thing that really helps them, and they're in the Pacific Division, where it's not a very strong division, so they can catch third place, and they're right in the middle of a playoff race, just out of third at the moment. Or playoff position.
Puck chopped up by Holzer. Now in over the line. Thompson. Fired in now by Lindholm. Thompson over after it. He'll go towards the front of the net. Pollock trying to contain his man there back of the goal. Thompson lurking there, tapped at it. Winnick gets by Thompson to the line. Holzer not able to keep it in.
A couple of years ago, they came up with the rule you can't use your glove on a draw to win a faceoff. I think after this season, you're going to see a change with this. A lot of players now are dropping to their knees to try and get leverage to get the faceoff win. Holland, an example of it there. That's a tactic that many of the center icemen are starting to use. And I think you'll see a bit of a change in that, perhaps, if the Rules Committee have a look at that, which I'm sure they will.
Streaking up there is Corey Perry. Getzlaf was in front. Raquel is down low. Puck fired up. Here's Raquel with it. Trying to slip away there from Hunwick. Bernier down at the side, knocked it away. Puck loose there, back of the net. And Van Riemsdyk for Toronto just gets it out to center. There's Getzlaf, knifes it across. Raquel on the way up. Hunwick trying to contain him. Raquel fired it across in front. Bieksa rips one. Bernier got a piece of that. And play is called, and there's Getzlaf down in front, exchanging a few pleasantries with James Van Riemsdyk.
Getzlaf trying to get his group going a little bit here, as he gives Van Riemsdyk a pretty good ride into the boards. And then they continue the shift, and there's Van Riemsdyk with the extra shove. They continue. And there's a little shove from behind from Getzlaf. Cross check. Getzlaf wants to fight. Van Riemsdyk says no thank you. And we get two each for either player.
So offsetting minors. Getzlaf missed 4 games back in November. He had to have an appendectomy, but he's recovered nicely and is playing well for his team once again. Not scoring a lot, has 3 goals, but leads them with 20 assists. And as usual, he's also one of their best guys on the faceoff dot.
Feeding the penalties.
So a little 4-on-4 action. Puck moved up there by Vatanen. Trying to weave his way through is Theodore. That's Shea Theodore, number 53. Keep an eye on him, a talented young defenseman who's stepped into the breach as a result of injuries and is doing a nice job. He's hanging back here from the crowd. The puck doesn't come to him. It's played up to Komarov. And Komarov coming down the wing. And back here to squeeze him out was Hagel. That's Vatanen without his helmet. Hagelin. Holland picks it up. And Holland will start back. Gets it there to Grabner. Throws it all the way across. Trying to work up his Riley. This is Bieksa, and a penalty coming up. And it is going to go against Anaheim.
Horkoff for a little bit of a cross check just inside the blue line.
So when we come back, the Leafs will go to work in the power play. 13th in the league coming into the game. They have 22 power play goals and 113 opportunities. It's dried up a little the last 5 games. They're 2 for 16. Phaneuf fires one in. Gibson stops that. Phaneuf gets it back. Parenteau works it down low. Phaneuf right back at the top of the point. Will take it. Fires a shot. Just missed. Parenteau after the rebound. It was bouncing up and was knocked away there by Lindholm. And it comes back and gets past Dion Phaneuf.
You know, for me, Phaneuf's had a couple of looks so far in this game where if he's hit the net, Gibson's looking behind him. And he's really got a lot on the puck, but Phaneuf's got to hit the net in those situations. He's in a good position.
There's Parenteau. Bozak drops down low. He goes out for Boys. Back for Phaneuf. Plays it up for Bozak. Parenteau's on the weak side. He takes the pass here. Parenteau works it across. This is Bozak. Boys is parked down in front. Phaneuf with it. Parenteau. No clean shot yet. Phaneuf tries to get one, but didn't get all he wanted on it. Here's Parenteau with it. Getzlaf and Van Riemsdyk come out of the box. One-timer from the sharp angle by Boys was knocked down. It is now a 5-on-4 advantage for the next 48 seconds for the Leafs. Puck worked up around. It's going to come up here towards Boys, who's got it. Out in front, Van Riemsdyk right there, and Gibson makes the save. I think it was a combination of the save and Van Riemsdyk shot it right into him.
That's a pretty good save by Gibson, though, as he comes across and anticipates the play. But before that, Lindholm here with a pretty good play to bat this puck out of harm's way, as that might have been a dangerous situation. Here's a nice little give and go. Boys goes behind the net. Van Riemsdyk, he's so good at sneaking between the traffic. Stick is always down on the ice, and again, a fine read by Gibson.
38 seconds to go in the power play for the Leafs. Gardner up for Holland. And the puck cleared down the ice. Gardner will skate back to fetch. And Randy Carlyle will make a couple of adjustments to the penalty killing unit. Here comes Gardner. Winds his way in. And broken up, picked up by Silverberg. This is Kadri. Final few seconds of the Leafs power play. Kadri steps in over the line. Trying to carry on after it. Lupul is pulled down. Teams back at even strength. Up ahead, the puck comes to Horcoff. Moving in with a shot. Picked off and held by Bernier. Horcoff out of the box and came in with the chance.
This period brought to you by Toyota and Scion, now offering Aeroplan miles.
Leafs with a couple shots on goal during that power play, and then Bernier tested just as Horcoff came out of the box. And he's tested again there by Corey Perry. Here's Raquel, trying to get it out there at the side. Here comes Getzlaf, and to get it out of his skates. Gets it back now for Holzer, drops it for Corey Perry. Trying to wind up, Marcabello got his stick in front of it. And then Raquel up there after it, pulled his man down. All the way! And that is going to be an offside call. Well, Bernier looking solid on that stop on Horcoff, and he's looked solid right out of the gate in this one.
Well, you know, when you're on the road, you got to establish the game as a goalie sometimes, particularly the way the Ducks can score with the big line. And he made 2 or 3 huge saves early. This was before the Leafs got their first goal. And that's what you need when you're on the road. And now the Leafs get a goal, and they're up 1-0, and the game settles in a little bit. And Bernier, again, very solid in this first period so far with 2:56 to go.
Ducks have fired 16 shots his way in this first period. 16-8, the shots on goal. Van Riemsdyk up there after it. Polak being watched by Cogliano. Santorelli up after it, couldn't win it. Back comes Van Riemsdyk to the line with Bozak. Looks around, tried to throw it across there to the middle. And Parenteau closing in as well. Kevin Bieksa with it now for Anaheim. Crisply onto the stick of Santorelli, who taps it in. Santorelli looks around. Works it up back of the net. He had Horcoff down towards the front. Santorelli after him back in the goal. He was belted by Polak. And gets up rather slowly. And penalty coming up. And now Polak in front of the net being challenged there by Josh Manson. Really having a go at Polak. Coming in defense of his teammate Santorelli, who was hammered by Polak up against the boards.
And Manson's still after Polak. There's the shot from behind. I mean, that's just no doubt about that. That was a tough shot. The puck was long gone. And then Manson answers the bell right away and goes right after Polak. Polak drops the mitts. And then Manson snaps a little bit. Seen that before, by the way. And that's because of that extra shot by Polak when things were being broken up. And that's why Manson absolutely lost it there.
So we'll see how this gets sorted out.
I have penalties for Toronto.
I'll tell you, Manson got Polak with a good one right in the beak. I'm surprised he got up.
For the Ducks, number 42, Josh Manson. 5 minutes fighting plus a 10-minute misconduct.
Well, Josh gets 5 for fighting plus a 10. Shades of his father, Dave Manson, who had 2,792 career penalties.
When I saw the snap job there go, it brought back memories because I played with him. I've seen that movie before.
You played with Dave.
I did. Oh, yeah.
He was
in Chicago.
One top customer.
But he was mad, obviously, for the right reasons with that shot after the fight was basically over and the refs were breaking it up.
So Anaheim goes to work in the power play. Vatanen gets it up there for Raquel, comes back to Vatanen. Extra penalty against the Leafs. Here's Getzlaf, works it back. Puck fired down, Raquel was in front, he'll chase it down here, gets it to Getzlaf. Perry is perked out in front of the net. Getzlaf. Vatanen, Getzlaf, Vatanen again. Works it over. Silverberg. And the Leafs in top. Puck works across. Perry trying to get it down in front. Bozak after it. Vatanen. Raquel going after it. Leafs bending but not breaking. Getzlaf. Shoots. Stopped by Bernier. Rebound. Cleared out. Comes back to Getzlaf again. Steps up. Waiting. Perry's in front battling away. Puck comes out in front. Fired. Bernier to save. He knocked it away. Puck comes back. Vatanen plays it across. Wrist shot. Fired. Just wide of the target and all the way down the ice.
Perry's been right in front of Bernier where he always is. And I got to tell you, Bernier somehow battling away to find those pucks. And that's what you have to do in this situation.
Stewart breaking down that right side. Works it around, 30 seconds to go in the Anaheim power play. Here's Bieksa. Taps it down into the corner. Maroon over there looking for it. Maroon, Bieksa foraging away for that puck. Down in the corner, Stewart after it. Trying to work it back. It comes back finally. Wrist shot fired. Knocked down. Puck ripped just wide. Picked up here by Kessler. And finally played down the ice. And that will do it for period number 1. And did Bernier ever have a good period?
Yeah, and you know, the battle in Bernier now is one of the differences since he's found his game. It's confidence. But look at the battle he has going. He just absolutely has Perry right in front of him, but he's still finding pucks. He's battling with Perry. And then you have to do that sometimes as a goalie as well to find pucks when you got a guy like Perry screening you and battling in front of you.
Ducks with 18 shots on goal in that first period. The most the Leafs had given up in the first period this year was 21 in a game against San Jose. That's it after 1. Here's Darren Millard.
Complete transfer.
Cloudy skies in Southern California today, but things have cleared up a little bit, and the picture is a nice clear one after 1 period for the Leafs. They withstood lots of offense coming their way from Anaheim, but didn't give up a goal. P.A. Parento scored the only goal. First period scoring summary brought to you by Falls View Casino Resort in Niagara Falls, the place you want to be. Now, in that first period, Bernier definitely the story for the Leafs. He was so sharp.
Yeah, and I thought he really set the table early in the period, Paul, with a couple of huge saves to start off this hockey game when the Anaheim Ducks were flying early, coming out of the gate. And then from there, it was an interesting play off the face-off, a bit of a break for the Leafs. It hits a leg, ends up right in Parenteau's stick. He knocks it in for the only goal of the period. A Polak play late in the game really heated things up as Manson stepped in, and they went at it. So this should be a very interesting start to the second period after a pretty exciting first period of play.
And we'll start things off with Manson and Polak in the penalty box.
Manson got the extra 10, so he will sit there for a while. The Ducks down to 5D for a while. By the way, the Ducks with a pretty young defense. You got Manson, you got Theodore, you got Lindholm, Vatanen. They're all under the age of 23 years of age, so a bright future on the blue line here in Anaheim.
Well, you talk about things coming to fruition for Anaheim. When you look at prospects in the lineup, you've got Theodore, the Fine young defenseman who's 20, Manson 23, Lindholm's 21, Vatanen's 24.
Yep. Cam Fowler hurt, not in the lineup. They miss him also on defense.
Shot came through, Gibson knocked that away. There's Kadri, throws it back to the blue line. Oh, nice job as it's kept in. Phaneuf will knock it down. That was a good play by Gardner. He gets it down in front. Komarov was there at the side. Puck comes up ahead, and here's Hagelin. And picked up. Puck rolled up for Kadri, hopping after. That was Granru who got it up there to him. Here's Gardner. Backhands it up towards the corner. Kadri lurking out front. Komarov lost the puck and his balance in the corner. Here's Kadri. Fires one towards the front of the goal. Bozak twisting and turning, trying to stay away from Lindholm. Puck comes back. Hunwick, one-timer. That's knocked down. And then Riemsdyk fires one. Puck comes up to Hunwick. Bozak in front. Then Riemsdyk shooting. Oh, a great stop by Gibson, and he smothers the rebound on James Van Riemsdyk.
What a spectacular start for the Maple Leafs here to start the second period, and Gibson with 2 or 3 huge saves, or this game would be 2-0. There's the first one. He's going the wrong way. He's able to get that right leg back, and then the Leafs with good puck position. In every puck battle, they're first to the puck throughout this sequence, and here Bozak with the centering pass. And not once, but twice, Gibson robs the Maple Leafs as Van Riemsdyk was right on the doorstep. But good recovery by the Leafs. Good speed to get the pucks. And a good start here for the Maple Leafs here in period 2.
Riley taps it over. Phaneuf moving it in over the blue line. Here's Bozak shooting. Puck knocked down back in the net. Bozak had a good look there. And the puck finally fired down there by Vatanen. Hunwick back in his own zone. Raquel on him. Puck comes to Perry. Perry, Raquel, and Getzlaf out there for Anaheim. Their big line. Hunwick knocks it down. Up to P.A. Parenteau, the Leafs goal scorer in this game. Tapped it up and ahead. Look at Van Riemsdyk wheeling through, trying to swim his way through traffic. And couldn't get there, and he is going to pay a price for going to the net as Corey Perry puts a little hug on him.
Oh, a little snow shower by Van Riemsdyk. A little alley-oop play by him. A pretty little play that he throws it up over the defense, goes to the net. And then he's chasing this puck down. And, and he just stops in front, and the Ducks don't take too kindly. And there's Getzlaf again right away after Van Riemsdyk. And don't forget, those two had a little chat. And a pair of minors because of it in period 1. Getzlaf still chirping.
And Van Riemsdyk riding a 6-game point scoring streak coming into this game. 15 points in the last 14 games. Theodore gets it around back of the net. This is Lupul in traffic. That comes back now for Phaneuf. Fires it up wide of the goal. Holland going after it. Being watched by Theodore. Lindholm trying to come out, being badgered there by Winnick. Pass coming up ahead to Cogliano. He taps it ahead. Cogliano will go for the net, looking for a rebound. Bernier waved at the shot as it came by. Winnick trying to dig it loose. After it is Santorelli. Plays it back and right between the two defenders. That's up. Puck comes over to Vatanen. He will fire it in. This is Thompson. Twisting around the corner, trying to get loose. Arcobello watching him, and now Arcobello takes the puck and starts back for the Leafs. Taps it up and ahead. Boyes is in the slot. The shot comes in, however, and it's grabbed and held by Gibson.
And now Boyes with an extra shot. And Anaheim here are starting to get a little physical on the Maple Leafs. We'll see how they respond to it. And so far, the Leafs have done a good job with that.
There's Chris Stewart, who I mentioned earlier, a pretty good shooting percentage. He's got 6 goals, but he's only taken 45 shots on goal. That's a 13.3% shooting percentage, which is excellent. Kadri on the draw, wasn't able to win it. Hunwick over there. Komarov there to claim the spoils, works it across. Wrist shot comes in, Gibson to save. Grabner not able to get loose there in front. Puck comes back, Gardner fires one. It'll bounce down. Hunwick thought about jumping up after it. Didn't want to commit, didn't want to get caught. And this is Gardner. Ricochets it up off the boards. Lindholm taps it down. And this is Kadri. Little dangle there along the boards. Gets it back for Gardner. Komarov back in the net. Grabner is out in front. It comes to him. And didn't get a great shot away. And it's grabbed and held.
Intact Insurance, proud to partner with the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Well, Kessler with this play behind the net on Komarov takes the feet from out underneath them, and Kessler's going to go to the penalty box for tripping. So another opportunity here for the Maple Leafs to pad this lead a little bit.
Leafs go to work on the power play for the third time tonight. They've had 4 shots on goal.
And when you're playing against an aggressive penalty kill like Anaheim, you got to move it in a hurry, very quickly. And look for the Leafs to try to do this on this sequence.
Anaheim, best penalty kill in the league heading into this game. And Parenteau not able to keep it in.
Phaneuf with the right idea, but he put it right into the skates of Parenteau and couldn't, of course, receive the pass.
Phaneuf on the way up. Here's P.A. Parenteau. Steps in, dishes off. Bozak and Parenteau both going for the front of the net. Boys up there, centers it in front. Van Riemsdyk after it. Back in the goal. Getting some support from Boys. Plays it towards the front of the net. Van Riemsdyk was there. He was being marked pretty closely. And the puck tapped out. Pass comes up to Bozak. Out for Parenteau. He was checked by Thompson. And the puck cleared down the ice. Dion Phaneuf back to get it. Nate Thompson right up to pressure him. 1 minute to go on the power play. And Kadri snuffed at the blue line.
You're not going to get through 3 players in this league.
Unlikely. Gardner works it across. Here's Kadri. And he was knocked down. Gardner over there to support. Gardner after along the boards. Thompson came up with it and plays it down the ice. Good work there by Nate Thompson in the shorthanded situation. Here comes Komarov. Wheeling and dealing up to the line. He'll step in and he'll dish off and goes to the front of the net. Puck comes across here to Holland. Holland drops it back towards the blue line. Picked up by Gardner. Works it across. Kadri shooting. Knocked down. And the puck cleared around the boards and out 10 seconds to go in the Toronto power play. And they will not get another rush as the penalized player, Ryan Kessler, steps back onto the ice. Meanwhile, the puck steered in by Arcobello, and Gibson will grab it and hang on.
And here's an example of Anaheim's penalty kill and why it's been so successful. They just don't let you get time to get set up with here. Look at how they just chase down here. Chase right away. Good puck positioning. And out it goes. Here's where they'll overload the puck. They win the puck battle on the boards. That's 3 penalty killers on the puck. And that's how aggressive they are. Then they finally win the battle. And the puck goes down the ice.
And then Gibson able to handle anything that got through, which wasn't much. I pointed it out. Nice penalty kill shift there by Nate Thompson, who was hampered early in the year. He was coming off of shoulder surgery. He missed the first 25 games of the year. And he's one of those really handy guys to have in the lineup. He can play all 3 forward positions. Good penalty killer. Good fourth line forward.
And they found Rakal now as the left winger on the big line with Getzlaf and Perry, and that's really stabilized Bruce Boudreau's group a little bit by finally finding a winger for those two, which has been a while.
And the puck picked up right off the draw. by Theodore, who moved it up, and he will steer it in. It's Shea Theodore, 20 years of age, from Langley, BC, rookie in the lineup. Called up as a result of Fowler being out long-term with an injury. As the play comes in, it was gloved ahead. 13:41 to go in the second period. Leafs up 1-0. Well, Leaf prospect William Nylander didn't have a great World Junior Championship tournament. In fact, it ended right there in the first game against Switzerland. Chris Eagley nailed him, and Nylander did not come back to play another minute of the tournament. He's back in Toronto now and has been assessed by Leaf doctors, and no word from the team on exactly what the injury was or the extent of it. Van Riemsdyk trying to get it through. Knocked down by Thompson, who will rush it in. Thompson waits, flipped one in. I think he was hoping to get more of a rebound from Bernier, but when Bernier's on his game, he controls those rebounds so well.
And what he'll do is knock it right out of the glass over top when he knows there's a rush chance, maybe in a bit of trouble. The only bad news here is the Leafs have not been great on the face-offs, as the Ducks won almost 60% of them in period number 1, and Getzlaf, of course, against Kadri here, and that'll be a tough contest for Kadri on this one. But he wins.
Getzlaf about 65% on offensive zone face-offs.
And Nazem Kadri with a big win there. Good for him.
Yeah, that was completely not true to form. Kadri is not great in defensive zone face-offs. Getzlaf very good in offensive zone draws, but there you go. Lindholm back to pick it up. Here's Lindholm. Getzlaf to his right. Perry over on the left. Getzlaf takes it, walks in, tucks it out in front. Raquel was cocked and ready to fire. And back behind the play. Meanwhile, Riley comes down, fires one, but Corey Perry ailing as he heads to the bench. He was clipped right down in front of the goal on that rush as everyone kind of converged into the black hole right in the slot, and he got slammed.
Well, Kadri, first of all, with a strong defensive play coming back through the middle. But I believe it's Komarov who got him afterwards. Here's the play, first of all, by Kadri there with the stick. And then a collision with that was actually Kadri that ran into him afterwards, making that great defensive play, and then got his shoulder in to Perry afterwards, and Perry's down and out at the moment. He got to the bench, and we'll have to keep an eye on him.
Bieksa drops it down back of the net. Hagelin was up looking for it. Leafs able to control. This is Jake Gardiner. Plays it up ahead. Bozak comes in. Works it ahead. Cutting down. Backhand shot. Gets in the save and the rebound. Put in by Parenteau. P.A. Parenteau with his second of the night, and the Leafs are up 2-0.
Well, one of the things the Leafs have done well tonight is exit out of the zone in a hurry with good passes. Here's Gardner, bang, right on the tape, and then a little give and go, and Bozak just takes it, or Van Riemsdyk takes it right to the net after this good first pass there. Bozak finds Van Riemsdyk. Van Riemsdyk goes to the net with authority, and then Parenteau, what does he do? Puts his head down and goes right to the net. And after a good first save by Gibson, the rebound's available, and the Leafs have a 2-0 lead.
So Parenteau with his second of the game, 11th of the year. Van Riemsdyk and Bozak will get assists at 7:37. And it's a 2-0 Toronto lead.
So often, good passes create speed. And often team speed can come from just good quick passes out of the zone, and that was a beautiful first pass.
And a great drive to the net by James Van Riemsdyk. Here's Lupul. Cogliano taps it ahead. And the puck just drifted in on goal by Silverberg there, and Bernier hanging on.
And Jake Gardiner quietly's put together a pretty nice season here. He finds the puck to his feet, a little stop, turn back, bang, right on the take to Bozak. And 2 Leafs go to the net. First of all, it's Van Riemsdyk, and then Parentov. It's when you arrive often as a forward. He arrives in perfect time where that loose puck just shows up in the slot, and Parentov gets his second goal of the night.
Leafs out shooting Anaheim 11-3 in this second period.
Their first 2 shifts were excellent, and that set the table here in period 2. Let's keep an eye on Kadri here and see if the Ducks go after him after that hit on Perry.
Grabner gets it up ahead. Komarov is forced to the corner there by Theodore. Maroon plays it up ahead. Puck comes back, punch towards the net quickly there by Theodore. Here's Boyes. Polak. And we'll see if he is targeted. And he is. Yep, that was Stewart who went up and took a bit of a bump at him. Komarov fires one in. That's blockered aside by Gibson. Theodore. Perry back out onto the ice after taking that hit from Kadri. Here's Hunwick, and he's given a bump. Now Kevin Bieksa. Hampus Lindholm plays it in. Puck cracked wide there. It's going to hop up. Raquel playing it back to Lindholm. Fired one. That was a tip attempt that was knocked down. Grabner clears it. Lindholm back to pick it up. Puck tapped by Raquel. Then he battles a little bit before it's played back in. Bieksa with it. Around to Lindholm. Gets left. Taps it up ahead for Raquel. He will steer it down into the Leaf zone. Perry coming up looking forward. He couldn't get there. So the Ducks' big line out there with the shift. Corey Perry none the worse for wear, although they didn't generate much on that shift. Puck played down. Bozak up after it. Tapped it out towards the front. Parentov is there. Puck steered up. The pass just missing Hagelin. Kessler rolls it towards the goal, and Bernier grabs it and hangs on. 9:25 to go in the second period. P.A. Parentov, the story in this one. He has 2 for the Leafs. They're up 2-0. Anything for Hockey brought to you by Molson Canadian, diehard fan and proud partner of the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Well, the puck seems to be following P.A. Parentov tonight. The first goal off a leg goes right on his stick, and he just releases it in a hurry to give the Leafs a 1-0 lead after 1. And then Van Riemsdyk goes to the net, as he's been doing of late. Parentov does as well, and he gets rewarded for his second goal of the game. And it's been a real good start to the second period for the Maple Leafs.
11 points in the last 11-plus games for Parentov.
And you got Van Riemsdyk with 4 goals in his last 6, and that's why he's been going to the net just like he did on that second Leaf goal.
Corbinian Holzer plays it across. Bombed in by Sammy Vatanen. Comes all the way up and around. Over to Vatanen again. And Lupo up there to pressure him. Forces the turnover. Winning. Walking it down the wing. Looking towards the front. Holland is up there with him. Holland by that time was back of the net by the time the puck came across. Puck bounced out. Batted down by Riley. Vatanen. Striding in is Kessler. Tried to cut across to the middle and was relieved of the puck. Enough. Plays it all the way up ahead. Mathias into the corner. Theodore. Playing it all the way down the ice. Gardiner back to pick it up. He's got company. Horkoff up there watching him. Pass comes up to Boyes. He'll break in. Gardiner was with him as he jumped up into the rush, but Boyes wasn't able to feed him that time. Now walking in is Horkoff. Waits. Gets it across, and Bernier. Nice stop. walked in, looked as though he was going to pass it, and then flicked it in on goal.
You know, Gardner with a great play to get out of the zone. He joins the attack the way you want him to do. And here he goes. And everything's good here. Now he'll take off. Why not? He's got all the momentum. Give him the puck. Nope. Boyes loses it right there at the blue line. And now, because Gardner's taken off, it's a 2-on-1 the other way, and Bernier saved the day again. But, I mean, you got to read it better than that. Boyes is in a perfect position.
Puck rolls up. Bernier poked that away with the goal stick.
All Boyes had to do was give it back to him. The Leafs were in good shape.
Here's Cogliano trying to get it out in front. Works it back towards the blue line. Bieksa fires one. Over to that right wing corner. Hustling up after it was Lindholm. Couldn't score the puck, and back the other way. Wheeling and dealing is Polak. Drops it back. Komarov plays it over. Scores! Nazem Kadri. And it's 3-0 Toronto.
What a game Leo Komarov's having. I mean, Nick Kypreos showed us some of his work in after period number 1, and he's been terrific again. I mean, he just takes off here. Down the zone, gets the puck, and what a pass. Fakes right over to Nazem Kadri, and Kadri needed this one. I mean, he just rifles it up over top of John Gibson. A beautiful shot. A perfect pass by Leo Komarov. Right off the rush, and the Leafs are generating all kinds of speed with their passing coming out of their zone through the neutral zone. And a 3-0 lead here now for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Kadri with his 8th at 12:35. And Polak and Komarov picking up assists. Here's Bozak. Over to Parenteau. With his 9th career 2-goal game tonight. He's never scored a hat trick.
Assisted by number 47.
Vatanen plays it up.
46.
This is Getzlaf. Perry shoots and picked off and held by Bernier.
You know, Kadri in his own zone broke his stick on this last play. So there goes the stick. No penalty on the call. And now the Leafs find a way to get the puck, get it out of the zone there. And Kadri, what's he going to do? He's going to go right to the bench. And pick up a stick, and that's not his stick. I don't think that he ends up scoring the goal with. I'd like to look at that again. No, I don't think it is. And we'll have a peek and see who actually ended up giving Kadri a stick, and I don't think the trainers had time to get Kadri's stick and give him the handoff. We'll see.
That was a different color. Puck right in front. Gibson stopped that. Right on the doorstep. That was Holland who had the chance. Polak. Pass comes up ahead. Lupo on the left. This is Holland trying to drop it there for Lupo. This is Holland. Kessler looking for it. Holland has it. Nobody right in front yet for the Leafs. Puck comes over to Dion Phaneuf. Shoots. Gibson stopped that. Puck rolls out there to Maroon, who plays it ahead up on the wing. Kessler going after it. Gardner back to steal it from him. And here comes Gardner. Wheeling down that left side. Coming up, Mathias is with him. He'll pick it up here. Mathias curling back. Great job to keep it in as he tight-roped along that blue line, and he still got it. Mathias works it there for Hudwick. Shoots. That was knocked down. That one off of Marcabello. Lindholm plays it up. Santorelli.
The Leafs have had the puck this whole second period. And they've been hardly in their zone because of their great exits getting out of their own zone.
Lindholm has to hustle back as Komarov in there to seize that puck. Gets it up for Kadri. Bratner is in front. Kadri with it. Burns had tried to fire it in on goal. Komarov Gives his man a bump. Puck played out. Here's Riley. Kadri was on his way there through the middle. Grabner couldn't get it to him. And Riley fires it in. Here comes Raquel. In over the line with Perry and Getzlaf. And broken up nicely by Morgan Riley. It is all working for the Leafs. Bozak, Parenteau. Trying to weave it through Raquel in the back check. Came back, plays it all the way up to Perry. This is Corey Perry looking for a bit of room. Got it out towards the front. Raquel was breaking for the net. Bieksa has it now. To Raquel. Shoots. Bernier to save it. Was deflected in front, but Bernier still stopped it. Pullak plays it around. Puck tapped up for Perry. Tried to get it out in front. He had Raquel there in the slot. Marincin can't get it out. Here's Corey Perry looking out in front. He got it out there for Horcock. Scramble, save. Puck back towards the boards.
You know, the Leafs sticks in front of the net have been excellent. Anytime there's been loose pucks and available trouble, they've got their sticks into the passing lane, or in that last sequence, just got their sticks into the slot and knocked it out of harm's way.
Theodore plays it ahead. Horcock after it. He will tap it up towards the corner. This is Holland. Works it around. Gardner. Nice pace here late in the second period. As the Ducks sensing they need to get one to get some kind of a comeback started. They have been completely bested. Anything they've had in this second period, a little more than crumbs from the Leafs table. And it's Toronto who has been feasting. This is Lupul looking around, trying to rope it in there from the side. Lupul plays it back for Gardner. He fires a wrist shot in, and that is grabbed and held by Gibson. 2:39 to go in the second period. The latest goal for the Leafs. Nazem Kadri scoring his 8th. You're watching Molson Canadian Leafs hockey on Sportsnet.
Well, Kadri does have the red stick, so it was a great pass by Morgan Riley and Brian Papineau behind the bench, the trainer. He is so good at finding the sticks in a hurry. He grabs the stick, he gave it to Morgan Riley. Riley with the pass over to Kadri, and Kadri uses his stick after he broke his other one to score the goal.
Lindholm off the face-off. Long pass up. Enough back to pick it up. Maroon trying to close on him. Maroon and Stewart up there. Goals very hard to come by for Anaheim, and they could use one here. Lindholm had a great chance as he walked in. And Bernier better.
Here's to a clean sweep. Learn more at LasVegas.com.
Bernier so sharp at the moment, and this play here is a read, and a real good read. Look at him, flip him way out. And then after the whistle, a little extracurricular activity in front of the net. And the Ducks, by the way, are going to end up with a penalty here on that shot that Phaneuf received.
Well, it's Nate Thompson who's in the penalty box.
Well, yeah, he gave him a shot right afterwards and during that scrum, so he's going to go in the box for it. And another opportunity here for the Leafs on the power play. Well, it was just an undisciplined penalty by Bruce Boudreau's group.
Leafs with their 4th power play of the night. 0 for 3. They've had 5 shots on goal with the man advantage. Talked about goals being hard to come by for the Ducks there as Hampus Lindholm had a chance to get one. They've only scored 3 or more goals 12 times this season. The offense really hard to come by, and that's why they play such a tight checking defensive style. Those 4 goals they scored in their game the other night against Winnipeg, a 4-1 win. More than the total, the offensive total of the previous 3 games. This is Lupul. Kadri gets it out. Holland was there, thought about it, but plays it back to Gardner. Tips it up. Lupul. Holland. Komarov tried to back pass it there for Holland, who's coming in on the weak side. And the puck played down the ice.
Jake Gardner's been so good tonight, of course, playing against his former team. He was an original Duck when he started his career, and he's got some jump in this game tonight. He's been flying.
17th overall pick for the Ducks in 2008. Here's Parenteau with 2 goals. Drops it there for Bozak. He was stopped at the line. Back the other way. Coming down short-handed is Horcoff. Got it across for Andrew Cogliano. And he wasn't able to get a handle on it. Boyes slips it back. Phaneuf. Playing all the way up in the wing. Boyes moving in on the right side. Trying to control that puck here along the boards. Parenteau with it. Throws it back. Bozak. Phaneuf shoots wide of the net. Bozak. Phaneuf. Works it up for Bozak. Parenteau open over on the weak side in the high slot, but they can't get it to him. Comes all the way back up to Dion Phaneuf. Parenteau works it across. Kadri trying to fire it in. Van Riemsdyk trying to get an angle there on Theodore. They battle in back of the net. And time runs out in period number 2. So P.A. Parenteau with a couple of goals. Nazem Kadri with 1. Bernier looking good through 2. The Leafs with a 3-0 lead. Second intermission coming up. Here again is Darren Millard. Welcome back to Anaheim. Leafs with first of 3 consecutive games on the west coast of North America. Tonight in Anaheim, tomorrow in Los Angeles, Saturday in San Jose. They lead 3-0 after a couple of periods. Parenteau with his 9th career 2-goal game. Jonathan Bernier has been razor sharp in goal for the Leafs as the shutout streak now at 71 minutes, 32 seconds.
And here's some examples of Bernier's work, and I want to show you how he's fighting through pucks to get trapped, to find pucks through traffic. And this is one of the areas that he's done a real nice job in throughout this game. And fight and his battle level is so much higher than it was earlier in the season when he lost a bit of his edge. And tonight, once again, I mean, he's been battling through puck, or through areas to find puck from the point. There's been all kinds of traffic in front of him, and he's done a fine job once again here through 2 periods.
And his counterpart at the other end, Josh Gibson, must be wondering what the heck is going on. 3 goals on 24 shots. The previous 4 games, he allowed 3 goals on 81 shots. That last game against Winnipeg that Anaheim won 4-1, he had a shutout streak that ended in that game that was 184 minutes and 30 seconds. And it has just not been his night tonight at all. And there's Freddie Anderson, who's played most of the games this year for Anaheim.
Well, he did early and had a poor record, but had 0 run support. And they tell me here in Anaheim he was playing real well. That had nothing to do with it. And he's lost the net. Why? Because Gibson's winning. The bottom line when you're a goalie.
Stewart plays it in there. Phaneuf with it. Well, something the Leafs have been doing as well is they've been getting lots of traffic down in front of Gibson, making it tough for him to see pucks. Kadri racing in there. And a buccaneering effort from Kadri as he came storming through to claim that puck, and then he ends up taking out Gibson.
I don't know if Gibson got kicked on this or not, or he twisted up his leg. He is not getting up at the moment. Kadri's had a real good game for the Maple Leafs. One of the better games I've seen him play in a while. He's been flying. He gets a goal. He's been going to the net. And we may see Anderson here as Gibson is down and not getting up in any time soon. Kadri misses a check. He gets on his horse. Goes right through the middle with that burst of speed. Good play by him with the stick. And it may have been his skate. I'm not sure. Gibson's seen lots of traffic tonight as well. The Leafs have done a good job going to the net. Komarov can be such a pain in the opposition position, and there he is right in front of that, not once but twice, getting where he's been so successful throughout the year. Van Riemsdyk going to the net. And there's this last play, and it's very difficult to tell what happened, but now Gibson seems to be up and okay with it, and we'll just wait and see if he stays in the game.
Well, it's Anderson stretching and warming up, but yeah, Gibson looks to be okay. I think you called it, Greg. It looked as though it was Kadri's skate that went into the back of Gibson's leg, or
looks like Gibson's going to go.
And right there, looked like the toe of his left skate.
That's a bit dangerous too, because you worry about your Achilles heel. Obviously, Gibson wouldn't be going off like this if it was that, but he may have gotten clipped, and they're going to send him off to the dressing room and have a peek at it.
So Frederik Andersen coming on in relief. And completely unintentional on Kadri's part. He was
tough night for Gibson on the night that he was nominated to go to the All-Star game.
Rookie of the month for the month of December. Gibson was. Pass up to Perry. Here it is. Bernier stares him down. And Perry bangs his stick into the glass in disgust after missing that chance.
And this is some kind of pass by Getzlaf. I mean, he rifles it right through the middle. Look at that pass. Wow. And for Perry to receive it the way he did. Bang. And Bernier stays right with Perry, and the frustration is obvious with Perry there. He bangs the stick and then actually tripped Bernier on the way back through. Perry's a highly competitive player. Heard Elliott talk about how not many players feel sorry for him because he could be a nasty piece of business on the ice also.
Second all-time franchise leader in goals with 310. And had a great opportunity for 311 there. What a pass that was by Getzlaf. Man.
And even to receive it, I mean, it had a lot of heat on it also. You receive that pass in full flight, that's quite a skill in itself also.
Yeah, it sure is. One of those things that looks a lot easier than it is. A hot pass all the way up the ice. And he got it and controlled it and was able to get a scoring chance. Here's Bieksa. Up ahead for Vatanen. Plays it over. Cogliano had a swipe at it there in the high slot. And the puck played back down. Holland coming up after it. And a front row seat for you as Holland bumps into the corner, trying to dig that puck loose. Here's Silverberg. Backs it up ahead to Cogliano. No, he doesn't. It's picked up and fired back in. Anderson stops that. And played it up ahead. Missed Cogliano. It goes all the way down the ice for icing. And you saw that great pass by Getzlaf up to Perry. They've combined so many times.
Boy, they work well together, don't they? And that was a good example of it on that last shift. Although they've been pretty quiet so far in this game tonight.
No surprise to see Daniel and Henrik Sedin on top of that list of guys who've combined for goals. Mathias back to the line. Here's Gardner trying to sneak it through. Here's Boys with it now. Tried to fire it on goal. That was blocked. Bieksa got in front of it. And fired back in by Phaneuf. Oh, turned over. Mathias centered it in front of the net. Oh, great chance for Arcabello. And he plays it back to the line. Phaneuf plays it in. Tim scores! Tipped in front by Boys. And it's 4-0.
One of the things the Leafs have done well all game long has recovered loose pucks when they've been available, particularly in the offensive zone. There's the initial giveaway, but now this is an available puck, and Arcapello gets it back to Mathias. He keeps the play alive, and a harmless-looking play by Phaneuf, and it's redirected by Boys. And Phaneuf this time just takes something off the puck, throws it to the net, and Boys in position as he goes off the half boards right to the front of the net. to redirect it. Gets in behind Kessler. Gets in good position here. And the whole time his eye is on the puck, watching the puck come in from Phaneuf.
Boys with his fourth, Phaneuf and Mathias with assists at 2:47, and it's a 4-0 lead for the Leafs. This is Raquel. Up towards the corner. Puck back there for Getzlaf. Looking around. Perry is in front. Here's Corey Perry still with it. Perry waits and can't get it through. Hunwick blocked it. Here's Getzlaf. Back for Perry. Back for Getzlaf. Looking out in front. That's Maroon parked off the edge of the crease.
Toronto goal scored by number 28, Brad Boyd.
Perry in front from Maroon, but swept away quickly by Hunwick. Anaheim keeping the pressure on here. Perry, Getzlaf, and Maroon out there on the top line, replacing Raquel. As Bruce Boudreau mixes things up just a little bit. Why not? Trailing 4-0. And play is called, and Bernier was knocked down. That was Perry in front, and now Perry and Bernier at one another.
And Anderson's going out of his net, but he better not do that, because if he gets kicked out, the trainer's next in line to go in net. What the heck's he doing? And Bernier and Perry have had something going all game long. Remember the first period when Bernier tripped up Perry? Here's Perry right in the kitchen again, so he gives Perry a shot. Perry with the cross check, not once but twice back, and then good for Hunwick to get right in there. Bernier with a pretty good shot afterwards. Riley gets into it, and I would expect Perry here will get the extra penalty. We'll have to wait and see.
It was a pretty nasty slash that Bernier gave him, and Perry wasn't having any of that.
Yeah, but that was after Perry started it, and away they went.
Perry didn't start that.
No, you're right. The original slash, but had the goalie's hat on there. Sorry about that, Parker.
You did.
So how is this all going to look? It looks like Perry is going to end up with the extra 2, and Getzlaf's losing his mind at the moment. Babcock's knocking up at the clock saying, really? I'll take that. Meanwhile, Bernier with that little grin on his face.
So it is indeed the extra 2 going up on the clock.
And here's a little bit before the slash. Perry there, with a little hand. See, partner, there you go. That's why he gave him the slash. I knew there had to be a reason, because Bernier really doesn't usually get this engaged.
It wasn't that much. And Bernier came
I'm going to rub my glove in your face and see how you like it. Boudreau can't believe it. And then...
and then now Maroon also gets 2. So it's 2 on Perry, and then...
So a 5-on-3... No, it's not a 5-on-3. No, we got a Leaf in the box, too.
And now a Leaf in the box as well. So
Bernier
gets 2 for slashing.
Right at the moment, there are 5 Leafs on the ice, and there are 3 Ducks on the ice. So we'll have to wait for the official announcement here to sort these penalties out.
45, Jonathan Bernier. 2 minutes for slashing.
So Bernier gets 2 for slashing.
Number 10, Corey Perry. 2 minutes for slashing plus 2 minutes for cross-checking.
Perry gets 2 and 2. And then Patrick Maroon picks up 2 for unsportsmanlike. So it is indeed a 5-on-3 for the Leafs. Here's Phaneuf. Curls around, looking over for Parenteau. Gets it to him. Remember, Parenteau sitting on 2, looking for his first career hat trick. Parenteau gets it down low. Bozak trying to sneak it through. Anderson knocked that away. Back out for Parenteau. Locks on target. Fires. Knocked away. Van Riemsdyk after it. Picked up by Corbinian Holzer, who gets it down the ice. 1:05 to go in in the two-man advantage for Toronto. Here comes Kadri. Drops it there for Komarov. Back up for Kadri. Gardner moving up. Pitched up there on the left side, not able to keep it in. Here's Lupul. Joffrey Lupul. Up to Komarov. Back for Lupul. Looks around. Gardner looks over to Holland. Gives it to him. Holland slides it down low. Komarov is in front. Kadri back out for Holland. Back for Kadri. Waits. Back out for Gardner. Back for Kadri. Quick pass across. And it was knocked away. Nice stick there by Hampus Lindholm to knock that pass away. 20 seconds to go in the two-man advantage. Here comes Holland. Wheeling down the right side. He'll hustle up towards the corner. Holland looks around. Lupul up there with him. Kadri with it now. Gardner open back at the top of the point. This is Kadri. Looks to Komarov. Shoots. Anderson stop that. Puck comes back. Gardner, penalized players back out. This is Komarov shooting. Anderson stops that and hangs on.
This has been an interesting evening between Bernier and Perry, a little cat and mouse. Of course, Perry's been right in front of him all game long. This is the first period when Bernier and Perry were at it, and Bernier trips him up. Perry does not retaliate that time, but all game long, Perry has been right in the kitchen of Jonathan Bernier trying to get him off his game, and then from there, turned into what happened here moments ago in the third period. And Getzlaf still after the official, so is Bruce Boudreau.
Well, Perry's in the box still. He got the double minor, and there is no time up on the clock. And now Getzlaf trying to get an explanation.
There should be still time. There's a 5-on-4 here at the moment still, and now the Ducks come out. And yeah, it'll be a 5-on-5. Okay, which makes sense.
So they get that sorted out. And Van Riemsdyk dislodging the net. 13:56 to go in the third period. Back with more in a moment.
Well, there's been a lot of history tonight in this game between these two players. We showed you moments ago this little trip by Bernier in the first period, and Perry's been all over Bernier all night long. There's a little shove by Perry, and then Bernier just trying to really get Perry out of the crease, and then Perry doesn't take too kindly to it. And after that, it became pretty heated.
Riley skates back to pick it up. This is Thompson. Manson plays it over. Grabner knocked it down. Still lots of time to go in the third period.
The Leafs have done such a good job in the neutral zone here. Anaheim just can't get anything going offensively and off the rush. Leafs really cutting off half the ice and not letting them get organized.
Here's Silverberg. Shoots. Bernier flipped out that right pad. Made a nice stop. Here's Grabner. Pull up. And plays it up. Komarov.
And this line of Kadri, Komarov, and Grabner have been excellent in this game. They've had the puck most of the second period and a good part of this third, too.
Lindholm knocks it down and then turns it over. Puck comes to Holland. He takes a jab at it. It rolls in and is grabbed by Anderson. The Leafs continue their road trip. 3 games in the West Coast tomorrow against the Los Angeles Kings, 10 o'clock Eastern time is puck drop. The Leafs and the Kings. They then have Friday is a travel day, a short hop to San Jose, where they will wrap up their West Coast swing against the Sharks on Saturday. And you can catch that one on Hockey Night in Canada. Puck poked in there by Raquel. Kessler moving up after it. Kessler and Stewart there back of the net. Here comes Dion Phaneuf. Phaneuf back at the blue line. Arcabello after it.
One of the things you're impressed when you watch the Leafs are their pace. And that was something that Mike Babcock emphasized from day one of training camp. He upped the pace of the practices. He demands at every practice.
Puck comes in. Grabner there in front. Anderson stopped that. Here's Grabner looking around. And that one tipped up and out of play.
And you see this pace. And they've just outworked Anaheim throughout the game. And it starts often from a good play in your own zone. And here's another example of it. Good puck support by the Leafs. Good stick by Gardner to win the puck battle. Puck support by Arcabello. And Phaneuf is right there to receive the outlet pass and off to the races. And those short passes create a lot of speed. And we've seen it again tonight from the Leafs coming out of their zone.
Dion Phaneuf picking up the 300th assist of his career on that last goal. On Boyes' goal early in this period. He's a top scoring defenseman in the Leafs this year, but career assist number 300 picked up there. Bozak to Riley. Long pass up for Bozak. Gains control. Does he get a shot? Feathers it across in front. Anderson, a nice save as he came across to make the stop on Van Riemsdyk, who had a couple of digs at it. And Anderson has looked solid coming on in relief of Gibson, who left this game after a collision with Nazem Kadri in this third period.
He got warmed up in a hurry on a 5-on-3 situation. He gets across here, but that play really started with another fine pass to Bozak. And then the cross-crease play, and you're right, Anderson was all over the Van Riemsdyk chance.
Buck comes over to Silverberg, chips it over top of the net. Cogliano going after it, plays it back towards the line. Over for Holzer, looking through, fires one. Lots of traffic in front. Sean Horcoff was getting in position. He's now in position back of the goal, but had his pocket picked pretty cleanly. Comes out, Cogliano is swing and a miss. And a bit of a yard sale as he loses his stick and the puck comes out. Here's Holzer. Puck tipped in. Bernier's going to knock it down. This is Holland. Up ahead for Winning. Swings in over the blue line. Overcome by a couple of Anaheim players. Lupul back there to cover. Nice job to keep it in. Steers to Holland. Trying to stay away from Holzer. Here's Gardner. Punches one in. Anderson with the save, and he hangs off. And things getting a little bit titchy here in this third period. You're watching Molson Canadian Leafs hockey on Sportsnet. Well, a guy who will never bear the nickname Chuckles, I don't think at any point in his career. Mike Babcock, pretty serious on game day, but this was during our timeout, and he's obviously enjoying it tonight.
What people don't realize about Mike, behind closed doors, he can have a lot of fun with his team. And you see it on the bench on occasion.
Gardner fires one up. I guess the occasion would be a 4-0 lead.
That helps.
With less than 10 minutes to go in the third period. Bernier's out to knock this down. Babcock looking for it. Hagler works it back to the line. A wrist shot comes in. Bernier knocked that down. That was Manson who put it in. And then it's chopped past Manson and back down the ice. Theodore back to pick it up. Theodore, long pass. He was looking for Kessler, lurking up there at the blue line.
By the way, James Reimer is scheduled to start tomorrow night in this back-to-back situation. I'm sure he will, but boy, Bernier's played tonight.
Yeah, that was what Mike Babcock said after practice this morning. He was, I won't say adamant, but he was very matter-of-fact that it would be Reimer starting tomorrow. Reimer or Bibeau. I assume it'll be Reimer. He was out there on the ice today practicing and is on the bench as the backup tonight.
Yeah, you got to get him going. If he's ready, it's a perfect situation in the back-to-back to get him playing tomorrow night.
Raquel gets it over. Trying to walk in is Vatanen. And was running to the sand there at the high slot. Puck punched in there. Bernier will grab it and hangs on. After that long shot came in from Kevin Bieksa.
Good defense often adds to excellent offense, and Babcock started the season working on the defensive side of the Maple Leafs game, and look at how they have been able to score goals since getting out of their zone as efficiently as they have of late.
And there's James Reimer, who we may see tomorrow against the LA Kings unless Mike Babcock has a change of heart.
I don't think so, particularly with the workload that Bernier's had tonight. He's had 37 shots against him.
Here comes Kadri. Cut across the middle there, trying a little toe drag as he moved towards the middle. This is Hampus Lindholm. Getzlaf, Perry out there, puck played up. Perry moving into the corner after it. Getzlaf comes up. Mathias starting back for Toronto. Mathias coming through. Riley picks it up and tried to stick handle by. Holzer with a nice play to poke it away. Now Phaneuf with a shot. Deflected down into the corner. Mathias looking for it. Arcobello in the slot. Mathias with the puck. And all the way back, left it there for Gardner, who fires one that was tipped towards the corner. Deflected towards the corner, pardon me. Here's Phaneuf with it. Cogliano couldn't get there in time. Dion Phaneuf for Toronto.
I mean, Anaheim here is just stopped. Frustrated hockey team. They thought they had their act together after a home win and a real good road trip out to Western Canada, and now this.
And they're in the midst, just starting off a long stretch at home.
This period brought to you by Peoples. Declare your diamond kind of love with gorgeous gifts from Peoples, Canada's #1 diamond store.
As I mentioned, starting off a run of 8 consecutive games at home are the Ducks. And while the Leafs will continue their road trip tomorrow in Los Angeles. Van Riemsdyk. Here's Bozak. Trying to get it out. Knocked down there by Theodore. Anderson knocked that down. Here's Marincin. Up there for Van Riemsdyk. Stepping in, played it across. Bozak. Over for Parenteau. Parenteau with it here. Looks, trying to fire it through. Knocked down in front. Bozak plays it back to Marincin. Cogliano knocked it down, and Silverberg clears it down the ice. And that will be an icing call on Anaheim.
You know, the other thing we should mention as well is this Maple Leaf team came down here on Sunday. Now, yeah, it's great for team building. There's no doubt about that. but it's also great in a situation when you're not playing and worrying about the time change in the late night, because they've had a couple of nights to get used to being 3 hours behind. And, you know, obviously now this would normally be very late at night if you just came down, but with a couple of extra days, you get used to that time change, which is a benefit for your first game on the road in the Western Swing.
And Winnick squeezed out of it in the corner, but it came back to Gardner, who fires it wide. Hits the referee, picked up there by Horcock. He can't get it out. This is Winnick, who's looking to feed it back to Phaneuf. And here's Phaneuf. Manson gets it up and around. This is Thompson up into the corner. Gardner squeezing him out of the play. This is Bieksa waiting for it. Wheels it around back of the net. Thompson is in front. Santorelli has it in the corner. Bieksa shoots off the post. Bounces down in front. Santorelli after it. And it finds its way to Bernier, who covers it up. Bernier was beaten there, but a bit of luck, and he'll take it. 4:12 to go. 4-0 Leafs lead.
Well, Jonathan Bernier, quite a run here. First of all, he had a great game in Pittsburgh where he stole the show. Then he came right back against the St. Louis Blues with a steady effort. And tonight, he's been part of the equation. There's no doubt about that. Particularly early in this game, those first couple of saves you just saw really set the table for the Maple Leafs until they found their legs. And he's been sharp the entire game, and a little smile after that last one hit the crossbar.
Off the draw, walking up is Manson, fires one. Shot ringing off the post in the last sequence for the Ducks as they came close. Kessler up looking for it. Riley. Here's Raquel tried to play it back. Anderson to Manson. Picked off by Grabner, and he'll wheel in. Here comes Grabner. Fired it across. Camry trying to get it. Marincin with a shot. Anderson stops that and covers it up.
So after the Ducks had such a successful year last year, it's going to be interesting to see what happens here around Anaheim in the next little while. Are they going to make a trade to try to shake things up a little bit? I know it's only one game, but this has been an ongoing problem for this team throughout the season. They have not been able to score. It looks like they get going and then they stall.
Well, they've been shut out 7 times this year. That's more than any other team in the league. And looking at a goose egg tonight right now.
And the only other thing, too, which is interesting about this team is that, you know, they're hanging in only because they're in the division, or they'd be out of it in the Western Conference. But because the Pacific is so weak, they're still right there in terms of a playoff position.
Lindholm up to Holzer. Plays it up. This is Maroon. Up towards the corner. Getzlaf comes up. Perry as well. Perry with it now. Gets up. Fires one. That is tipped over to the corner. Perry over there after it. Bruce Boudreau has dropped Raquel off of the top line with Getzlaf and Perry, and he's had Maroon out since about the latter part of the second period. Getzlaf will come up. Gets it in front. Maroon was going for the goal there, but being watched pretty closely by Dion Phaneuf. Puck comes back to Holzer. Fires one just wide. Here's Getzlaf. Up for Perry. Back for Maroon. This has been the only line generating even a semblance of offense for Anaheim in this one. And it's not been enough, obviously.
They have had a fair number of chances for sure.
It's Horcock. Leaves it there for Cogliano. Tips it over. Horcock goes down back of the net. He'll catch up with it here. Works it out in front. Laid over to Cogliano. Now Silverberg there back of the net. He's squeezed out of the play. Under 2 minutes to go. In this third period, Leafs with a 4-0 lead. Anderson parks it there. Long pass up for Silverberg. Cogliano up there with him, but puck cleared back out. Bernier knocks that one aside. This is Marincin. Gets it up ahead to Winnick, who will start back. Tacks it up for Holland. Coming up to the line with Lupul and Winnick. Holland storming up towards the corner, bumping into his man Theodore. Puck there back of the net. Holland picks it up. Works it all the way back. Comes over to Marincin. A poor pass, and it came out pull-up. Didn't get good wood on that, or a good composite. And under a minute to go.
In the third period.
And that is going to head all the way down. And an icing call on Anaheim. Hockey Night in Canada this Saturday featuring 4 games. The Leafs head to the Shark Tank to face San Jose. Sidney Crosby and the Penguins take on PK Subban and the Habs. The Senators host the Bruins and the Canucks battle the Lightning. All coming up on Hockey Night in Canada this Saturday. Hope you can join us for one or all. Puck comes out. Here comes Kessler. Up to the line. Raquel leaves it there for Holzer. Puck comes back. Tapped out by Mathias. This is Parenteau. Parenteau gets it in. Mathias couldn't handle the bouncing puck. Parenteau out there. He's got 2 goals. Looking for his first career hat trick. And it comes to him there in front. There was a chance, and Anderson was there. Good chance for Parenteau. And he will head to the bench. Still, I'm sure, content with his 9th career 2-goal game. This is Holland. Tries to ditch it in front. Final seconds, and Jonathan Bernier picks up the shutout as the Leafs win 4-0. And the Ducks are shut out for the 8th time this season. So Bernier turning aside 39 shots to pick up the shutout, and he is on a roll. The Leafs with a 4-0 win tonight. P.A. Parenteau leading the way with a couple of goals.
Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey. Brought to you by Molson Canadian, diehard fan and proud partner of the Toronto Maple Leafs.
3 stars tonight. I take a wild guess at who star number 1 will be. You got it. Jonathan Bernier picks up his 11th career shutout. P.A. Parenteau with his 9th career 2-goal game. Nazem Kadri with a season-high 8 shots. That ties his career high of 8 shots on goal in a game. But it was goaltending. The Leafs got it. Anaheim did not. It was not Gibson's night. It was Bernier's night, and the Leafs with a 4-0 victory. For all of us here in Anaheim, I'm Paul Romanuk. So long.